3 months sober. That's what they told me at the last meeting, back when I was still going to them. They clapped for me, patted my back, told me they were proud, like I'd done something worth celebrating. But what they didn't see, what no one ever saw, was how every single day felt like a fight. Not against alcohol. Not anymore. It wasn't the whiskey I missed. It wasn't the high, the numbness. It was her. Shania. I could still remember the way she looked at me that last time, her face tight with something between pity and disappointment. She hadn't yelled. Hadn't begged. She just told me to leave, her voice flat, hollow. And I had. I told myself it was my choice. That I could have stayed if I wanted to. But I hadn't fought for her, had I? I had let her push me away because it was easier than facing what I was becoming. Now, 3 months later, I was still me, but worse. Every little thing set me off. A car honking too loudly. Someone bumping into me on the street. The sound of Celia humming in the kitchen when all I wanted was silence. I snapped at things that never used to bother me. I clenched my fists when there was no reason to. I could feel the anger burning under my skin like a fever that wouldn't break. I wasn't drinking anymore, but I was far from okay. And Celia, God, Celia. My wife. The woman who stayed when I didn't deserve it. She was the one who saw it first. It happened after one of those rare nights when we let ourselves be close again. When I let my guard down long enough to remember that I loved her. Her skin had been warm against mine, her breath soft in my ear, and for a few moments, I felt something like peace. But when I woke up the next morning, she was already out of bed, standing by the mirror, her robe pulled tight around her body. Something about the way she held herself made my stomach twist. Celia, she flinched. Flinched. That was when I saw them. Dark bruises bloomed across her arms, her hips, the delicate skin of her thighs. My breath hitched, my chest tightening. Celia, my voice was barely a whisper. What happened? She turned, her brown eyes meeting mine, filled with something I couldn't quite name. You don't know your own strength anymore, she said softly. I stared at her, at the marks I'd left behind, and something inside me cracked wide open. I didn't mean to, I know. She gave me a small, sad smile. But that doesn't change the fact that you did. I wanted to argue. To tell her that I wasn't that man. But the proof was right there, staining her skin like a confession. You need help, Xavier. Her voice was so gentle, but it cut deeper than any scream ever could. For the first time in months, I had no fight left in me. The AA meetings were held in a dingy little community center with bad lighting and worse coffee. I hadn't been back in weeks, but my feet led me there anyway. Maybe I thought I could fix this. Maybe I thought if I just sat in that circle again, raised my hand, admitted that I was still spiraling, it would get easier. But before I could step inside, a voice stopped me. You shouldn't go in. I turned, my body already tensing. Paul stood there, arms crossed, eyes steady. Paul was one of the old-timers. He had been sober for more years than I'd been alive. A guy who had seen it all, done it all, and somehow walked out the other side. I didn't have time for whatever speech he was about to give. Get out of my way, I muttered. Paul didn't move. Shania's in there, he said. She's been doing good. If you walk in now, she's going to break apart all over again. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. Shania. She was still coming here. Still trying. And I was the thing she had to heal from. A sick, ugly feeling crawled up my throat. I just need to, you need to leave, Paul said firmly. Let her be, Xavier, something inside me snapped. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, I growled, stepping forward, my fists clenched. Paul didn't flinch. A real man doesn't push the people around him. He pushes himself to be better. The word stopped me cold. Paul sighed, rubbing a hand over his face. I was in a gang once. Violence was the only thing I knew. I got out, but it took me years to unlearn the anger. AA helped with my drinking, but it didn't help with that. He looked me dead in the eye. You don't need another AA meeting, Xavier. You need something else. I run an anger management group. You should come. I let out a bitter laugh. And you think talking about my feelings with a bunch of other pissed off guys is gonna fix me? Paul shrugged. No, but it's a start. I exhaled sharply, running a hand through my hair. Through the window, I saw her. Shania. She was laughing at something, her head tilted back, her shoulders relaxed. She's okay. She doesn't know I'm here. Maybe Paul was right. Maybe I needed to stop looking for answers in the places that had already failed me. I turned away from the building and followed him. Maybe, just maybe, I wasn't too far gone.